Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, and this time I will try to present to you guys how to create this Wix with three.js integration using like no development tool at all. So let's see how it goes, and let's start this by let me show you what we are going to achieve. Like we will do this kind of 3D rotating logo. I know it's a very basic one, but I hope this can help you to understand the logic behind this, and then you can do like projects on your own and replace the model and whatever. And we will also learn a lot of new stuff concerning the way the three.js work in this kind of the integration. But looking to the Wix, it is very simple to implement this kind of stuff, but it's tricky to know where to go and where to place code. So that's why I decided to record this one here. So let me show you what happens like under the hood here. So we have a very basic scene here, and this time I will not create everything. I will show you how I do it, so you can have the reference for the file, and then you can change it for yourself and do whatever you want with this. I'm using Glitch. Like if you are not aware of what Glitch is, it is like a website where you can have your projects being developed and previewed at the same time. And it is automatically hosted, and they also have a CDN like board. So it is awesome to work on very simple projects when you don't have to manage the building stuff and using Webpack and things like that. So let me show what is happening here. Like we have a very basic scene where we have this index.html file, and everything starts by you adding the scripts. So as you can see here, it is a pretty simple page. You have this script here, which is the responsible for ES module kind of management. Those came from the three.js website, okay? Like I'm not reinventing the wheel here. They are pretty basic. So you just add this script here, and then you need to add this other script. This is telling to the browser to import the three.js as a module into this experience here. And then on the body, I'm just embedding the script file, this wix.js file, pretty basic one, which we will see in a few moments. But the important thing here is to add this type module. This is important to have because we need this to be able to handle the files and the imports that we are going to do. So, and that's it for the index.html. For the JavaScript file, we have a little bit of more things, and I will explain this to you. I would say the only major difference here, it is like you need to change the path for the imports for everything you need to have or you want to have on your scene, and that usually use import from three.js. You just change it by a full path, and it will work. Like I'm not that experienced on handling this kind of thing, but this is the way I found how I can import those external libraries, those extra libraries to work with three.js. And then here we are doing the same thing I do on my three.js boilerplate. If you don't know what it is, you can check for my YouTube video, like YouTube channel. There you can find a very detailed tutorial about what I create and how we create like three.js scenes using this kind of tool. But you can also go to my GitHub page, and then you can see there a lot of cool stuff. And one of them, let me just turn it off. One of them is the video where on my GitHub, I have all the files and everything, so you can build yourself. But whatever, like here, I'm not using it. So it is building on the browser itself. There is no Webpack management, no anything. Like you just put the files here, they work. So I'm using the Draco loader to load this specific model. I'm creating the container, and I'm attaching this container to the HTML body. This is important because we will refer to those names when we insert this on Wix platform. And then let's see all the rest. Like we have the scene background, we are creating the scene and then creating the scene background. We are defining the renderer configuration for optimal performance. We are activating the shadow because in this specific scene, I'm using shadow here. As you guys can see, it is a dynamic one, so I'm enabling shadow. And then we have the camera creation, and it's pretty basic. We are making it like resizable. So this is the code responsible for treating the camera and resizing the renderer and setting the pixel ratio on it. So also pretty basic. I'm creating orbit controls here, but we don't even need this. Like we only using it here to be able to see something on the interface. And then here I'm loading the model. Like, and this is one important thing, like all you have to do is go to the assets folder and then you can drag and drop your files here, your GLB files. Like, in fact, I have an other files here. And one important thing that you need to do is to always copy the URL from the CDN. So instead of referring to those files as a referenced path, you go to the copy URL here, and then you grab this file, and then you use this file, this path here. This is what I just did here, and it is working. And here what I'm doing is I'm adding this model to the scene, and I'm traversing the model to find the object so I can enable cast and receive shadows on this object. And then I only set a variable here, like a global variable, so I can access this model variable, and this will be the object, because in the end, we will rotate this as it is rotating right now. So I'm creating a kind of a reference to access this object here inside this scene that I added to my three.js scene. Then here I have a pretty basic animation just to define like some parameters when we finish like the animation, how we want to position the camera. As you guys can see, as I change the numbers here, the animation, in fact, also it is a very good thing. It is auto reloading by default. So every time you do one change here, you see those changes in real time on the right. Like, it is beautiful, and it's all working on your browser. You don't need anything extra. So I'm calling this intro animation by default, like in the beginning of the experience. And then I'm creating the light just to be able to have like that shadow that we see, just to show you. Like here, let me put this a different color so you can see. Like I'm creating like a light so you can see it from a different like angle. Actually, I like it this color. I guess I will keep this way, at least for now. So, and then I'm positioning the light. I'm adding this light to the three.js scene, and I'm setting the parameters to have the shadow working properly. And I will not go too deep on this, but those parameters are important if you want to have control over the shadow quality, the shadow bias, which is important because if you comment out this line, probably the shadows will get some, like you can see, some artifacts, as you guys can see. So these are controlling how far the projection of the shadow should be on the model, and a lot of things. So if you want to dive deep in, you can go to three.js website and take a look. And then I'm creating the floor. And this is also tricky because like it is a pretty basic plane on the floor, but instead of using the normal mesh basic material, which would enable you to see the thing there, you can also use, like, for example, the mesh standard material. And let's put this on a different color, like gray, so you guys can see. Like in a standard material, you have the color, you have the shadow because on the basic materials, they don't support shadows, but the standard one supports shadows, but you cannot make them like transparent, like a shadow casture. The way to do this is to use this mesh shadow material. That will make the plane completely invisible, only casting the shadow, which is awesome. I just discovered this and this is awesome to use. And then I'm loading, like I'm using the RGB loader to load the texture. It is a HER file that is on my assets folder, like I did with the model. So the technique is the same. And then I'm setting the texture mapping on it to be able to get a kind of a environment. And then I'm setting this to the environment. And since this object here, I imported this with a material already. I set all the parameters for the material on the Blender file. It is a mesh, uh, probably a mesh standard material, which supports this environment mapping setting. So you have an environment intensity and all of those things that you can tweak with the values, play with the values on the Blender side. So here I'm just using it and I'm just configuring like the environment, and by default, because my model already have this type of material, it is reflecting that environment, okay? And then lastly, we have the render function, which is doing only updating the twin because I'm using to do the animation for the camera, updating the controls so we can have the orbit controls. I'm rendering the scene because like we need to render the scene in loop. I'm doing the model rotation here. So I'm checking if the model exists first, because at the first frame of the rendering, the model isn't there yet. Like it doesn't exist on the scene. So I'm checking if the model exists, then you should do the rotation. And like here you can control, for example, the speed of the rotation. If you increase the value, you get a very crazy rotating logo there. But that's it. So this is all concerning the three.js scene. It's 162 lines. It's very basic. And one last thing for this part is the CSS file, which is almost nothing. The only thing we really need here is the three.js to have this pointer events all, so we can get this. But we will see when we will add this to the Wix page, we need to do some tweaks to be able to see the file on the Wix. So I hope this was helpful, and we will see how to place everything that we did here in the Wix page on the next video. So thank you very much and see you soon. So now that we have our scene in three.js and I explain everything to you, let's put this on the Wix website. So let me show you the trick, where it lives. So by the way, I'm using this website from a friend of mine, Fred Senna. Thank you very much for enabling me to record this video using your work. This will help a lot of people, I guess. So all you have to do is go to your dashboard, like on your Wix web page. Probably you are familiar with this. I would say even more than me, because I'm just getting used to the Wix platform. But all you have to do is go like on this on the panel, on this panel here, you go to the settings for your website specifically, and then you have this custom code. Like it took me a lot of time to find this setting, but it is easy to implement. So let me show you. So you go to the custom code properties, and then you have the head coding, the body start, and the body end. And this will be the trick, like just putting the code here. So let's see. For the heading, let's go back to our Wix website on the Glitch platform. On the heading, we have this here. So all we have to do is to copy those lines of code that are importing those dependencies in a sort of way to the Wix website. So we go there, go to the heading part of it, and it is a little bit messy because you need to paste the code here, and you cannot see that much what is happening after you paste the code here, but it will work. So you paste it here, like, and I would say I want this on the heading. I could do it for some pages or the entire page or for some specific pages. For now, I will leave for all the pages. And then you can give it a name if you want to, because you can have more than one script being applied on the heading of your page. Then you hit apply, and then nothing will change. Like when you do this kind of stuff, nothing will change on the website itself. So we need to add more stuff. And there is the tricky part. Like the second part involves to use this script here. But instead of importing this script from another place, what we will do, we will trick the Wix. So we can use this tag to import our script as a module, but we don't give a source. Like we will place the entire code on their platform. I know it is not beautiful. Maybe you can find another way to do it, but this is the way I found, and it worked very easily. So you just copy it here from here, and you go back to Wix website, and then you go to the body start, and then I will paste it here, but I don't want this source. I want my content, the contents of my file to be placed here. And I would just apply it here just for you to notice that nothing will change. So let's go back to our website on the Wix platform to edit it, as you guys can see it here. And I will publish it just for us to take a look what is happening. Like, and nothing will change. Like there is nothing three.js related here yet, but the scripts are there. So now we need to do one thing. We need to go to this file, and if you try to insert all of this code, this will probably not work because there is a limitation on the number of characters you can insert on Wix platform. But I have solution for that, so I will copy everything, and once it is like calling for this extra libraries from a complete address, it will work no matter what place it is. So I will copy all of this, and then I have this Digital Ocean minify tool. This is the one that I usually use. There are many of them, but I like this one. All I have to do is like paste my code here, and then it will compress and remove all the comments and sort of creating a compressed version of our JavaScript code from three.js to be like 3 kilobytes instead of 6. And it's saving not only kilobytes, but it's saving characters, which means a lot for us. So we copy this compressed version, and then we go back to Wix in the custom code for the body start, and then we edit settings, and again we will not see much happening here because we need to go to paste all of that code here, but I just paste it here, hit apply, and then to publish this you actually need to go back to your website and publish it. At least it works this way for me. And now let's see what happens when I refresh the page. I will probably get the scene, but it is working all the way down on the website. So as you can see, we already have the three.js on the page, but it's not the position that I want. I want this to be around here. So all we have to do is to deal with the divs now. So what I usually do, just to give you some practical advice, the way I do this kind of stuff, I just find the thing here. So I have this three.js class, which is in fact being created here, as you guys can see. Like when I create a container, I create a div on any website that I paste this code, and then I create a div and append this created div on the document, and then I attach a class to that div that I created. And this is happening right now, but there are no classes being outputted on this code. And what we have to do if we want this to be like in the beginning of this page, first we need to give this a position absolute. Then we can give it like a top of 0. And as you guys can see, it already moved all the way up. And then I can give it also left 0. You can play like with the z index, which is probably not work in this case, like because you need to deal with the way of Wix treats the divs itself. So in your project, probably you have different divs names, different div classes. So you need to play with your settings on the Wix to find the sweet spot when you can have like the three.js scene running on your website, but you have the Wix elements in front of it. And this is what I just did with the classes that I've made and I showed you on the beginning. But just for us to have something to play with, I will also disable the pointer events, because right now, if we don't disable it, I can play with the three.js scene here, and I cannot scroll the web page anymore because we are dealing with the three.js instead of dealing with the scroll for the Wix. So what I will do is to disable the pointer events on this page, on this specific element, not this page, sorry, known, and then I will give this overflow hidden, just to get rid of some extra things that I'm seeing there. We can also give like a height of 100 vh, which is getting all the space available on the vertical space, so it will grow together with the interface. So this is pretty basic HTML, okay? It is not too fancy, but just to show you how you can implement those classes on the three.js itself element. So just copy all the declarations here, and all you have to do is go back to your settings, and when you apply the first script here, you can create like a script, not a script, sorry, you can create like a style tag here. So I will be lazy. I would just copy and paste the one that I have here because I don't want to spend that much time. But just to give you an example, you can create a style tag here. Then you can put all the things that you want to change on your three.js element. And then you like close your script, your CSS tag, which I will also be lazy and copy from here. Yeah, and then apply, and then again you need to publish the website again, and then let me close the log. If you refresh the page, you should see the three.js scene, but what is happening, it is like we have this thing in front of it. So I have additional classes that works in my case, that I would make some elements from my Wix website transparent, and this is the name for the thing that I found on my template. This color underlay needs to be transparent. I don't know why, but we can't make it fully transparent over the interface, the Wix interface. They are transparent. Wix are saying they are transparent, but they are not. So what I'm doing, I'm forcing the transparency over the script, the CSS style tag here. So I will place them here. I'm just pasting basic CSS on that small window, and then I will publish again. And then let's refresh the page. And now we can see the three.js behind the elements of the Wix. So what I did, I just made that huge background on the head hero section transparent. But that name would work just for, in my case here, because on every single project, that name changes over like the creation of the project. But you get the idea. So now we have a website, a normal would say Wix website with a three.js on the background. And then you can play with this. you can change like the model, you can change the effects, you can change everything. And the beauty of this approach, it's because if you want to change something, like for example, you want to change the model, you want a different model here, you want different colors, different everything, you can do everything here on this glitch platform. Then once you are happy with this, all you have to do is to copy all the code, minify it here on DigitalOcean minify tool, and then place it again on this part here, this custom code for the body start part. So it is beautiful. Like we have done it with no building tool, only our browser. Like it is awesome to be able to create this kind of stuff. And by the way, I will be sharing in somewhere close to this video the link for this project here. So all you have to do, you hit this button remix. When you do a remix from my code for this project, we will have everything that I have here to be able to use on your projects. So you can really just copy and paste and change models and do whatever you want with this. Okay, so I hope it is helpful for you. If it is, please like consider to give it a like and share the spread the word so we can have more and more users being able to create this kind of stuff and surprises users and be happy like with three.js and Wix on the platforms. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much and see you guys. Bye bye.